Designing the 15-minute city. Designing a 15-minute city. You also have that on the picture? Yeah. I have to, it's well worked out in the syllabus. What I'm now going to say is well worked out in the syllabus. So there's your text. But just in a few words, we always look to Leiden as a 17th century city, a city of a golden age, because of our historic city core. But that's only a minority of a population. The majority of a population is living in 20th century, not even in 19th century, no, really in 20th century cities. We are some kind of Zoetermeer, except for the historic center. But we built this city since 1950. A majority of the population living in post-war neighborhoods. And those neighborhoods were developed for the baby boomers. Just one generation. And one generation, you know now, which is leaving the scene. Slowly leaving the scene. In 20 years' time, they will be gone. I'm one of the last representatives, so mark my words. And after then, newer generation will come, much smaller and much more diversified. So they have to redevelop their city. And all post-war cities were developed with the same principles. Creating distance between living and working. So we created living quarters, just living, living, living. No work, no sports, just living, gardening. And that's basically, in 80% of the world, how the 20th century developed its cities. And look at our own outskirts, Berenwijk, Stevenshof, or go to outskirts of Alphen, of Groningen, or whatever city, and you see the same pattern. And now we have to say goodbye to that 20th century vision of developing cities. It's time for what is called the 15-minute city. It's really called a 15-minute city. The goal is a 15-minute city, not a 20-minute city. I think this version, it must be from Wopke Hoekstra, but that's an inside joke for Dutchmen. 15-minute city, the whole idea is that within a 15 minutes walk from your home, you will find all the basic functions of life. You have to find some playground, you have to find some educational institution, you have to find some commercial area, you have to find some sport facility. All basic facilities of human life should be available within a 15 minutes walk. And the concept was made popular in recent years by Jan Gehl, a Danish urban scientist, and he got to redevelop Copenhagen. So we have a prototype. Copenhagen is already redeveloped, and other examples can be found in parts of Paris and Barcelona. The whole idea is to mix up working and living. Why should we do that? Yes, please? Just wait for a microphone.
Yeah, from that perspective, it's interesting to look at the bioscience park, because there it's mostly functioned on working. There is the sports field from the students, there is the Lab 71, I think, a little bar, but I live close to there, and basically in the evening you can shoot a cannon and you will not hit anything besides the security car who's driving around to make sure that there is no things going on there. So that's an interesting remark, to mix functions, and basically that's in line also with what Jan Gehl said. Yeah.
Thank you for this remark. I will add some words to it. But first, why should you work on a 15-minute city? Because the whole idea is that you need a city which is integrated on eye level. If you leave your home, you should meet a public space which is inspiring, where you can meet people. And why is that necessary? Because we are living in knowledge hubs. And knowledge is about communication, about exchange. And not only about knowledge hubs, it's also about poverty. If you are poor, you need an environment which is inviting you to mobilize yourself, to start to work. So the whole idea is that we have to get back to, well, some kind of the medieval village, where everything is concentrated. And now back to your remark about the science park. The science parks, we developed our science park with the urban insights of the 1980s. Right now, the science parks have a new form, and that's called a Central Innovation District. Central Innovation District, combining living, working, innovation, culture. The part of Amsterdam, south part of Amsterdam, wants to be a Central Innovation District. Central part of The Hague wants to be a Central Innovation District. And also in Leiden is talk about Central Innovation District. Let me add just one remark to it. I can understand the idea. You should combine functions, like we are in this inner city are combining functions. We combine working, innovation, education with tourism, leisure, living. I'm living around the corner, and in summer it's quite noisy, all those cafes, but it's a nice place. You have to be tolerant for that noise, have to enjoy it sometimes. 3 October is terrible. 3 October is terrible. It's just one day, and then it's quiet again. The science park is coming to town, and there's one remark I want to make about it. We are putting a lot of money in those central innovation districts. Where are the people of those 12%? We are making it luxuries, and we need cheap spaces in those quarters, just as ports of entry to the economy of the people who are who got less education, less opportunities in their life. Again, is it a hollow city? Are we building a Medellin or New York? And we are now in the midst of a new urbanization. In this small city, 8,500 apartments have to be added before 2030. I'm very concerned. What are we doing? Are we just building houses? Or are we building neighborhoods with conveniences for everybody and chances for everybody? So let's not make the same mistake again. We made a mistake in the 1950s, building one-sided neighborhoods. Let's not make that mistake again. It's a 15 minutes city. I made a joke about Wopke Hoekstra. The coalition, municipal coalition in Utrecht has ambition to make a 10-minute city. Quite annoying, those folk in Utrecht. It must be a joke. I'm coming to an end.